Hi and welcome back. It's Maxine, your spiritual astrologer, teaching you how to learn astrology in a more empowering and soul-centered way. And in this episode, you'll learn what Pluto's transit through Aquarius for the next 20 years until 2043, 2044, what that means for you personally. So what does Pluto's transit through Aquarius mean by rising sign? So I'm going to go through those all 12 one by one. You can listen for your rising sign and understand what does Pluto's transit through Aquarius mean for you personally. So understanding that Pluto's transit through Aquarius signifies a really beautiful part of your soul's evolution, and it's giving you a new focus going forward. It's giving you a new opportunity to really clear the path to say, okay, this is what you need here. This is what needs to be transformed. This is what needs to be left behind, so you can really have a rebirth of sorts. Think of Pluto's transit for you as a metamorphosis at the soul level. There's some area of your life, some part of your journey here that really demands such a big change that it takes 2 decades to really assimilate, to really heal, to really allow yourself to integrate those lessons. So that is what Pluto through Aquarius at the more soulful nature of it, the more personal level, is about. There's so much to be said about Pluto through Aquarius collectively, the advancements, the innovation, the progressive nature of that, what it means for us as a society. But I really want to stress here for you how you can take it down to that level of, from a spiritual astrology perspective, what does Pluto's transit mean for you and, again, your soul's evolution. So that's what the focus will be here, and I'm going to go through all 12 rising signs. So listening for yours and reflecting on these themes. And I have a very exciting announcement for you. If you are interested in joining Spiritual Astrology School, my comprehensive program to learn how to read astrology charts in a really empowering, soul-centered way, then I would love to invite you to the spring semester. We start February 1st and the doors have just opened. So this is my program to really take you in a deep dive into the spiritual side of astrology, to help you give readings and blend everything together to speak to someone's soul. Really give them the messages that they need to hear. Whether this is for others or for your own personal guidance, that is what you learn over the course of the program. So if you want to go to MaxineLuthia.com, you can sign up there. You can look over all the topics. You can see the breakdown month to month, what's included, what you'll learn, and there's testimonials and all of that. And of course, if you have questions, you can always reach out to me over on Instagram. So if that speaks to your soul, would love to have you be a part of that. Okay, so with that said, let's get into it. What does Pluto moving through Aquarius until 2043, 2044 mean for you and your soul's evolution, your soul's metamorphosis? Think of this as a 20-year metamorphosis. This is not a quick change. This is not something to rush. As I share your rising sign and you feel into those themes and what I'm sharing with you, remembering that the butterfly does not become the butterfly overnight. So just as I share that, keeping in mind with your rising sign and these themes with Pluto's transit for you, it's not about a quick fix. And it's not about just bulldozing through how you feel to get to the other side. It's going deeper within yourself. It's something to sit with. It's something to reflect on. There's this shift that takes place. It's a 20-year-long metamorphosis process of becoming and unlearning, allowing yourself to really see the lessons and integrate them and become that transformation. So it does require, with Pluto, going to the depths of who you are, getting to the heart of this area of life, these topics that we talk about. It's letting yourself become really intimate with them, of knowing yourself here from the inside out and accepting what needs to shift. What do you need to let go of or eliminate in order to welcome in this more expansive, authentically powerful you? So it's really tapping into your authentic power and letting yourself, with this Pluto transit, not rush that. to let this take its time. So there's something that you need to eliminate, or you need to at least radically transform how you relate to it. And that is what gets you to the other side. That's what turns the caterpillar into the butterfly, is letting yourself go deeper into this process of becoming over this 20 years. So that's what we're talking about here, and just being gentle with yourself through this process, knowing it's not anything that's scary as well. Often with Pluto, it's, very misunderstood, but it's this idea that you need to first let go of what's not working for you, what has not been working for you, in order to have the space to welcome in what is for your highest good, what is in your soul's alignment. So keeping that in mind and letting yourself welcome in change rather than resisting that and pushing it down, that only creates a later explosion with Pluto's transit. So how can you go into this transit not with fear of what's going to change, but welcoming this energy so it's used constructively to help you to build and have that rebirth, that regeneration that's required of you for your soul's journey at this time. So that is just some food for thought. I'm not going to get too much deeper down that road of what Pluto means, because I could talk about that for days. Pluto in a spiritual evolutionary lens of astrology is so important for your soul's evolution and understanding that mission that you're here for, and really a lot of what you're here to unlearn too. And just to share the dates with you, if you want to make note of these, but Pluto first moved into Capricorn, if we rewind quite a bit, back in 2008. So all the way since 2008, Pluto's been making its slow path through Capricorn. And if we fast forward to March 2023 to June 2023, that was the first time it dipped into Aquarius. And then because of the retrograde, right, it went back into Capricorn. And then on January 21st, 2024, Pluto's back in Aquarius all the way until September 2nd, okay, of 2024 now. And then it dips for the last time back into Capricorn. And then on November 19th, end of 2024, Pluto is in Aquarius, moving forward for the next 2 decades. So until 2043, 2044, okay, when it moves on to Pisces then. So understanding this is really helpful in thinking to those first dates of when Pluto shifted into Aquarius. Is there anything that came up for you? Is there anything that you experienced perhaps that maybe foreshadows different themes of this transit for you? So thinking about that as well as I share your rising sign. Last thing to keep in mind, if you do have any planets in Aquarius, then this will be a more significant transit for you, as Pluto, especially as it inches its way closer to that planet. You'll feel that more, and it really can be a life-transforming transit. And this is very similar to if you have any personal planets, like let's say your sun or your moon in Scorpio, Leo, or Taurus as well. So just something a little extra to add in there, but listen for your rising sign. And if you are interested in really making the most of these transits, you can always book a reading with me, or again, learn how to read your birth chart so you can really get to know these themes and what is showing itself to you as an opportunity to transform. Okay, so let's get into it. What does Pluto moving through Aquarius mean for your rising sign? Again, this is from 2023, 2024, all the way to 2043, 2044. And if you feel like sharing anything that comes up for you over on YouTube, would love to hear it, or you can send me a message over on Instagram. So Aries risings, this transit of Pluto for the next 20 years is really a focus on understanding who you are in relation to others, in relation specifically to your community or your friendships. And so understanding that there may be a big shift when it comes to your friend group, your understanding of what it means to be a friend, or even a friend or friends that somehow come into your life and really shift things for you in a big way. You might notice that there are people who are really instrumental in helping you reach a new goal even that you have for yourself. So often with this transit too, another aspect is changes in your aspirations. So what is it that you want for your future? That might be undergoing dramatic changes. Maybe going into this transit, you had a certain goal and you might really feel that is not in alignment with who you want to become. And you're wanting to change paths in some way, and you want to really do something that has a deeper meaning to it, that really feels like it's fulfilling at a deeper level and contributing to a wider audience, a wider community, feeling more empowered, putting yourself out there in some way. And for Taurus risings, with Pluto moving through Aquarius, this really signals a 20-year metamorphosis in your life's direction, specifically your career or your calling in some way. So I see this show up in two ways. So on the one hand, sometimes I'll see clients with this had really felt during that time a shift in your direction of what you're doing, of really having a 180 in career, feeling that what you are doing, you have this sudden realization of, or a growing dissatisfaction of this, what you have been doing is no longer, it can no longer continue as it was. So there's a break from the past in career in some way. Or on the other hand, it's a period of really gaining traction towards some ambition that you have. So if you going into this transit or early on really set your sights on some goal that you have, this can be a time where you're really ramping up to that and you're putting in so much effort and ambition toward that goal. And you can be very determined and focused in that pursuit. Sometimes it's a mix of both, sometimes it's one or the other, but this transit really gives you that energy and momentum to find what it is that brings meaning into your life and how you can encourage your work to be in alignment with that. And then for Gemini risings, with Pluto moving through Aquarius, it really signals a perspective shift. So there's a way going into this transit, the way that you see things, the way that you are, the way that you move through life, it needs to shift in some way. You need to see your truth more clearly or see a broader, more colorful perspective than right now you see. So it's almost as if your truth expands. There's also a sense that you might feel you want to explore not only what your perspective is, but your beliefs are shifting or deepening in some way. So maybe you're wanting to really experience things in a deeper way. Your spiritual journey is expanding, or even your religious beliefs, maybe wanting to have a more profound connection with that, more profound connection with God, with the higher power, whatever you believe, the universe. There's a deepening that way as well. And wanting to really even perhaps dive deeper into some subject. So maybe wanting to go back to school to study, wanting to really feel like you understand something from the inside out and have that knowledge that has turned to wisdom. And then for Cancer risings, Pluto through Aquarius is really much more of an inner psychological shift and metamorphosis. So it's wanting to understand yourself from the inside out, understanding your psyche. Why do you do the things you do? Why are you the way that you are? You know, what has shaped and influenced you from the past? What do you still need to accept? What can you transmute and transform? And really, it's a long healing journey at different levels, right? Healing different things and parts of yourself, especially the aspect of trusting others, emotional intimacy, even when it comes to the sexual aspect of it, or wanting to understand taboo topics, things that in some way you have suppressed or have swept under the rug, wanting to see that and just put it all in the light of day so that way you can really face your shadows and really heal in some deeper sense. And then for Leo risings, Pluto moving through Aquarius is really about transforming the way that you show up in relationships, especially close one-on-one relationships, but even more broadly, it can show up as how do you relate to another one-to-one. So it's wanting to really recognize patterns that are no longer serving you, the ways in which you may hold yourself back in some way, or patterns of, let's say, projecting onto another something that belongs to you, something that you can work through and heal that in that sense. But it's also recognizing even, you know, power struggles. How can you allow yourself to be in your own power and sovereignty in a relationship as well? So there's different layers to this, but it can even show up. I've seen this a lot where you may feel there's very karmic relationships that come into your life at this time, or there's one very close relationship that transforms you in a very significant way. So this often relates even to marriage or to close partnerships, but it could even be anyone who's very close to you, a business partner, someone who's a very close friend, something of that sort too. Then for Virgo risings, with Pluto moving through Aquarius, it really asks you to find more of a work-life balance, to allow yourself to see the ways in which you need to let yourself see how you can prioritize health, your physical health, your spiritual, mental health, all of that more. How you might need to let go of things that are very straining or bring a lot of tension to your life in favor of what actually is going to support and heal you. It can be a time where you really regenerate in some way in that sense, wanting to transform how you relate to your health, how you take care of yourself, even understanding this deeper layer of knowing you're worthy of that self-care, of that attention. And there's also an aspect of work or career in some way. So there may be a way in which you want to find a deeper sense of passion for your work, or feeling like what you're doing is really serving others in some sense. Or there could be a change in jobs or a shift even in careers here, so that way you do feel more in alignment and have more of that work-life balance. Then for Libra risings, with Pluto moving through Aquarius, it really asks you to come back to your creative, free self-expression. How can you be more authentically yourself? And this is day-to-day showing up in all areas of your life. How can you not yield to the opinions of others? How can you not seek their validation and approval, but really let yourself source that approval from within? And allowing yourself to not people please, but rather to please, if anything, your inner child. How can you live in alignment with what it is that would really help you feel more expansive and free? So that is a big focus here. And how can you live your life more passionately, even more romantically? That might also be a desire to transform in some sense there. When it comes to romantic involvement, there's also a desire to really transform the way you approach that, or that may be more dating, it might be more emotionally involved, or really bring forth transformation from within you. And then lastly, if you want children or if you have children, there's also an aspect of this where that might be more of a focus for you in this next period of life. So maybe in some way your children are really a focus. There might be a sense that you are transforming through that relationship yourself, or in some way that area of life is, again, an area of really a source for healing in some sense too. And then for Scorpio risings with Pluto in Aquarius, it really asks you to transform the way that you relate to home and family. So it might look like you are seeing patterns surface from childhood and wanting to do some healing there. It might also look like wanting to relate to your family in new ways, healthier ways, wanting to in some way shift the dynamics there, especially when it comes to your parents or whoever held that place of those impactors for you early in life. There might be a sense that you're wanting to find greater independence, or there's some power struggles there. So allowing yourself to transform through that, and also perhaps even becoming a parent yourself, or in some way seeing the ways in which you can be that for yourself. And then also when it comes to home, it could show up as quite literally you're buying your first home, or you're moving homes, or during that period of time, what home means for you is really undergoing a lot of transformation and metamorphosis. And, even if you're in your home, maybe how that looks to you, or you're remodeling it, that could also shift as well. And then for Sagittarius risings with Pluto through Aquarius, for you, it really can transform the way you show up in your day-to-day life and also the way that you communicate. So on the one hand, feeling that perhaps things that have been nagging at you or just things you've chalked down to, oh, it's just the way you are, or bad habits, you're starting to see the ways in which you can have more power and control over shifting your daily reality and experience. So it really can impact you in wanting to transform how you show up in your day-to-day life. And then also when it comes to communication, just wanting to speak your truth or wanting to follow that truth, really acting on that, or also feeling that you might notice some ways that you communicate that are actually self-defeating, that aren't encouraging relationships to really flourish. So there's a sense of wanting to heal from those patterns. And then the last piece for Sagittarius risings is siblings. So there might be some power struggles there, or really transforming from that, from the past, and wanting to develop a different new relationship with any siblings in your life. And then for Capricorn risings with Pluto through Aquarius, it really brings almost this metamorphosis of your values, of what you value. Your personal values at this time can really shift and deepen. So they become way less superficial if they were, and it asks you to dig deep into being so clear and intense about this is what you value. And so that can look very much, when it comes to money, that's a part of it. So maybe changes during this time to your income, how you make money, but also where you spend your money. What are you willing to invest in? And not just when it comes to that, but also where are you investing your time, your energy, your attention, really what is going to be of value for you, and really what is that deeper sense of truth for you, of what is worth it, right? And also when it comes to your own sense of security, finding that more so within, rather than having it be a more superficial, oh, if I have this, then I'm secure. It's diving even deeper. So there's also that aspect of it beyond also the money and finances and material security part. It's finding a security within yourself as well. Now, if you are an Aquarius rising, of course, this transit of Pluto moving through your first house, that is going to be that much more significant for you. So I noticed just across the board, for Aquarius risings, you're going to really feel this deeper sense of your life is just going at this pace of so much is changing. But also there's going to be a sense of self-transformation that takes place where you're really meeting your true self, your authentic power. You're rising into that and allowing yourself to really meet these deeper layers of yourself, like peeling that back like an onion during this time, and rebuilding your personality, rebuilding your identity, really rebuilding who you are to be more true, to be more authentic, to not feel like you have to put on a mask, but actually be who you are and be really transparent and own that. So that is a process, again, right? This is a 20-year process, but just keeping in mind that there will be changes or aspects that crop up during this time that may later, in retrospect, you'll see how it's informed and shaped you and taught you a lot about your resiliency, your strength, your ability to persevere. So really, this is a huge transit, and especially keeping in mind when Pluto gets to your ascendant, that will be more specifically that kind of crucial time for you where you're seeing more rise to the surface and where that personal rebirth can really take effect. And then for Pisces risings, this transit of Pluto moving through Aquarius really asks you to confront your shadows, to confront the ways in which you may have been working against yourself, even if you weren't aware of that, right? So self-defeating patterns, behaviors, beliefs, letting yourself see the ways in which you've felt stuck, and not with judgment, but really with compassion, with love, seeing the patterns. It's a transit that asks you to see psychologically the ways in which you've been taught in a way to ignore that, but now to face that and to transmute that energy so that way going forward, your past ways or that psychic residue even from past lives, it's no longer controlling you, but you actually feel more empowered to make conscious choices of what it is you want for your life. So that's a look at Pluto's transit in Aquarius through all 12 rising signs. And again, keeping in mind, this is a 20-year-long transit. So it is not about just one quick change. It's about allowing yourself not to rush this 20-year metamorphosis, this unbecoming to become who you are as well. Remember, there's that with Pluto, there's always the death and rebirth piece. So needing to let yourself be open to the flow in these areas of life and knowing that it can look like something totally new is coming, or it can also be a deepening in some sense. So knowing that it can show up differently, especially based on your birth chart, and there's all those pieces. But I hope that this serves to empower you rather than feeling in some way scared or doomed by that transit. It's not about that. It's about letting yourself see that this is an opportunity to meet deeper layers of yourself. So I hope this served you. I hope this serves you using this transit in a really constructive, beautiful way to really rise into your authentic power. And if you've already noticed some themes of this showing up for you in your lived experience, would love to hear about it. You can share over here on YouTube in the comments, or you can reach out to me over on Instagram if you're listening to the podcast. But yeah, that's all I have for you on today's episode of Pluto transiting Aquarius, what it means for you. So I hope that this was a really helpful guide for you in that, and just again, so grateful to be a part of your astrology journey. And if you do want to learn more in depth with me, if you want to join Spiritual Astrology School or book a reading or check out my free astro mail or guide that I have for you, you can go to MaxineLuthia.com and you'll see all of that there. I'll also put it in the show notes. Thanks so much for learning with me, and until next time, take care.